And that's the beer that I give to to English ale drinkers who are, have heard about American craft beer but don't know where to start. It would be the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. That's what I would recommend if you like that kind of hop forward English best bitter style. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is your man. So the last beer we're going to taste, oh no, hang on a second, we'll just talk about Torpedo, which is essentially an amped up version of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. It's called Torpedo because Sierra Nevada built a big kind of cylinder that they filled with hops and basically pump the beer through, so it's a kind of a dry hopping machine. And it just turns everything up a little bit louder, a little bit brighter. The hop character in it starting to approach sort of fireworks level. Really wonderful. Now, Dogfish Head 60-minute IPA. Dogfish Head in Delaware, on the east coast of the States. And again, Dogfish Head have been for, they're not exactly the founding fathers of American craft brewing. We're looking at probably Anchor and other breweries like that. But Dogfish Head were kind of the first of the new wave of American craft brewers, and their 60-minute IPA, it's a wonderful beer, and they use a process called continuous hopping. Now what that means is that during the production of the beer, when you add hops at the start of the boiling process, that gives bitterness, and hops that you add towards the end of the boiling process, they give aroma. And so what Sam Calagione devised was a way of just adding hops slowly all the way through the boil, so you have this wonderful kind of curve of bitterness moving into aroma. They're not two sort of separate things, it's just this wonderfully integrated sweep from bitterness into aroma. And again, we're just moving up in intensity all the time. This has got a really kind of slightly nutty malt character to this. But again, sitting on top of it, you've got all those lovely kind of almost tropical fruity hop characters going on. Boom, as soon as that hits the palate, sweetness, you get a little nuttiness from the malt, and then the hops, the hops just kind of, as you swallow, get this wonderful kind of wave of bitterness building and a big kind of explosion of aroma in your mouth afterwards. And 60-minute IPA, for ages was kind of one of those benchmark IPAs that everybody talked about but was quite hard to get hold of. And eventually, of course, that title ceded to the 90-minute IPA, which again has the continuous hopping. 90 minutes refers to the length of the boil, so you're reducing the volume of liquid a little bit, so concentrating the sugars a little. You have more time to add hops, so the malt sugars and the hops are much bigger. They're in balance, but they're just much bigger and sweeter, and bigger and more bitter. So again, moving up in intensity. So Dogfish Head are just one of those really, really interesting American craft breweries who again have scaled up production but never sacrificed on quality. The last couple of beers here we're not going to talk about. We're not going to taste, but we'll just talk about very briefly. Flying Dog, that's their IPA, the India Pale Ale there. That's a really, really wonderful, fairly full on, but again nicely balanced beer. And what we've got at the end here, we've got Flying Dog Raging Bitch, which is a terrible name for a really, really great beer. And actually that's a beer that I was lucky enough to review in its cask form. Now, Raging Bitch is a terrible name, but it's a great beer. It's a kind of American-Belgian IPA hybrid. There's lots of the characteristics that you expect to find in an American IPA. You've got a big malt body, you've got loads of hop character. The yeast that they ferment the beer with is a Belgian strain that really, really, the one thing that nobody ever talks about are different yeasts in beer, and yeasts are absolutely critical to determining the final character of the beer. And so the Belgian yeast strain that they use in Raging Bitch, which is a terrible name for a great beer, is one that just kind of brings all of the hop characters to the front, and it kind of somehow cleans out a lot of the malt character. So what you're left with is a fairly dry but very, very spicy, very characterful and very unusual beer. If you like your IPAs big and bold with a hop character right at the front, it's Raging Bitch for you. Sorry, it's a terrible name, but it is a really fantastic beer. Okay, so that's going to be my mixed case selection of American craft beers. We're going to put it up on the website. We'll have a little bit of a fiddle around, so we might be looking at a mixed dozen or probably a mixed 24 of these. I'll go through and handpick them myself, and if you don't like them, then I don't know what to say. What I would say is that you need to go back to the beginning and start again and just kind of relearn about it, because this is absolutely where contemporary brewing is today in the 21st century. It's going on in America, it's wonderful, and I recommend you try it. That's fantastic. My throat's terribly dry. It's been really nice talking to you. We'll see you again next time. Cheers.